What's up, guys? It's your boy, Signs of Life, back here once again. Did you guys miss me? I missed you guys. It's been a while, I know. But rest assured, Don and I have been working tirelessly around the clock, coming up with new stuff for Synphaera and Exosphere and Material Soundsets. It's been quite a adventure this past 4 or 5 months. But here we are, and here I am, here today to introduce ancient technology to you. And as a special bonus, I will be talking about the production template for Ableton Live from Remote Vision. So without further ado, here we are in Ableton, and this is Serum. Now, Serum is a wavetable synthesizer. And if you don't know, wavetable synthesis, according to Wiki Audio, is a technique used in certain digital music synthesizers to produce natural tone-like sounds. The sound of an existing instrument, a single note, is sampled and parsed into a sequence of circular tables of samples, or wavetables, each one having a period or cycle per table. Now, Serum, as I call it, is the Swiss Army knife of synthesizers right now. It is so hot, and it's so versatile. When I was producing ancient technology, it was hard for me to find things that Serum could not do. It's very easy to program, and it's very straightforward, and it also sounds super good. So that being said, let's go over some of the presets and some of the features of Serum. Now, I know that not everyone has Serum, so that's kind of why I'm walking through this sound set with you. Serum has a demo. It's also available on, I think, Splice for like $10 a month or something. You can rent to own it. So then anyway, you could, somehow get your hands on this and use it, because it's good enough for ambient, soundscape, dark ambient, Sybient, you name it. It's got it all. It's really a great tool. So ancient technology has 36 presets, and each one of them is in a different category. There's bass lines, a cool bass drum, 14 pads, plucks, soundscapes, and sequences. These are the best of the best. I dithered all of these down from everything that I was working on and settled on these because I wanted to bring out really high quality stuff that would be immediately usable in all of your productions. So the first one we're going to listen to is Ascend. Nice bass drum, hits kind of hard. The second one is Blimpy. Ooh, yes. When I was going through these and when I was creating them, Echo Season told me that I had really good naming schemes. So you might chuckle a little bit when you hear some of these names. Next one is Foundation. I like that one. It's kind of a hard hitting. It's got a super drive. Now let's talk about the macros over here. These macro knobs, each one of them has a different function. It tells you what they do underneath it. And it's basically just like micro or macro controls that are programmed to modify something inside of the preset to make it sound differently. So each one has a different sonic character to it. And you'll figure that out as you go along. Now this is our kick drum. Okay, underneath the tonal shape here, let's play with macro. So you can see it's got a different kick drum sound. You can kind of like, you get a bunch of kick drums in one. You have the kick boom here. All right, comp boost, gives a little more edge. And then of course, if you really want to get hard with it, it's got a distortion knob. Cool. So now, this is a section I call bass lines. Now, each one of these bass lines is interesting because you can play with them in different tempos and get different results. So I'm going to, let's forward this to something a little more trancey, like 132. And then you get a little more trancey with it, right? So playing with the different tempos can produce different results in all of the presets. Skippy, nice. And then Terraform. I love this one. This is one of my personal favorites. Kind of gets dubby, ambient kind of dubby there. Nice. Now let's get into the pads. Now these pads are really where I think Serum shines. You actually have control over manipulation of the wavetables, the wavetable position themselves, You have a sub oscillator here, and then the noise oscillator, which we're going to talk about in just a second. The noise oscillator is one of my favorite features of Serum. Now, the macro controls and the pads really line up. So you have all of these macro controls, which give you a totally different character to these pads. So like you have several pads in one, meaning like I could cut the filter, increase the effects, and then you have something really minimal and almost dark, right? Whereas you take the filter down, morph the filter, and it changes into something else. You see what I mean? So that feature alone and that fact alone, I really put a lot of thought and care into all of these macro controls. So let's move on down the line. We have Beyond the Bathwater, Big Blue. Big Blue is one of my favorites. I love this one. And then there's an actual macro called Big Blue. I mean, you're in Cloud City right here, right? I love this one with a little filter cut and almost 3/4 Big Blue. That's ambient, folks. Anyway, moving on. Down here we have Distant Shores. I love this one. This one's really cool. Yes. More of that, please. That's Distant Shores. Really nice one. Humble Beginnings. Remote Decision. Now let's talk about this one. This one's really funny because this is where the noise oscillator comes into play. This noise oscillator is just literally a really small sampler, okay? But the fact that you have control over the pitch, the level, the pan, phase, randomization up here, okay? This sounds kind of crazy, but what is it called? Sines nails, right? So if I take off the delay and I take off the reverb, listen to this. And let me up the pitch. That's literally me dropping nails on my garage floor, okay? So when you alter the pitch of it and then you add a delay and reverb, that is sound design right there. All right, let's add all the oscillators back. You see what I mean? So the totality of it and everything combined really creates a super powerful synthesizer, and that's why I love Serum so much. Now, down to the plucks, we have Cobblestones. Now, Cobblestones is actually based on a patch from my good friend, Lufram, from Denmark. And this is reminiscent of the old Signs of Life stuff. Right? That's that sound. And I wanted to recreate that in Serum. So that's what I did. We have... Now, these are really fun when you add an arpeggiator on them. So I'm going to throw an ARP on 96. We'll put this at 116 and then maybe add some delay to it. You see? I mean, you can get really crazy really fast with just a couple extra elements here. Ice Cave. That's cool. All right, now let's get into the soundscapes, because these soundscapes were something that when I started programming them, I'm like, wow, this is really where Serum shines the most for me. It's not exactly easy to do, but it's so satisfying. This is called Lost Temple, for obvious reasons. You can boost the reverb here. Love that. Soundscapes, man. Serum has up to 8 LFOs, and each one of these LFOs is programmed to do something different. So you can see this one is controlling the mirror modifier here on the wavetable. Anyway, let's get into our final. Whoa. Still got that delay on there. All right. This is a, I love this. All right, cool. Cruising altitude. Very nice. And let's do one more. We're gonna do Final Destination. That's awesome. Oh yeah, the arpeggio is still on. Here we go. There we go. This is fun at either a fast tempo or not. Dun, 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 dun. Very nice. All right, cool. So now let's talk about, now that we kind of went through over half of Ancient Technology, let's talk about the production template from Remote Vision, which I am looking at and I'm using here right now. This is a production template that Don and I have been working with for years. He created this out of a need to make Ableton a more total solution as far as workflow and usability, harking back to the old console workflows of yesteryear. Now, this comes with a bunch of effects here, these utility effects. It also comes with 6 insert effects, which are already pre-built in, A through F right here. And it also comes with these default tracks and a busing system, which is all set up for you. So it's pretty much good to go right out of the box. Now, what do I mean by good to go? So you have a reference track up here at the top, and the reference track is basically where you can drop any audio track on top and reference that as reference audio, whether you want to sound like, I don't know, Signs of Life, Remote Vision, Ascendant, whoever. You can put this on the top and then you can easily just turn this on, turn this off. It's already routed to the master bus, so you can sort of reference your material to what's going on up here. It doesn't have to be on. It's just sort of, we call it the ghost track, but in here it's called the reference track. And then you have an audio and a MIDI track. Now, the only difference between the audio and the MIDI track is obviously the audio and the MIDI side of it, but they both come with a production channel strip, which has 3 plugins, and they're all very useful. The utility plugin, the EQ8, which is already preset up with these curves designed by Don, and then a compressor. Now, what does this do? So let's just go back to one of these pads over here. I'm gonna go back to Remote Decision. Very clever play on words there. Remote Decision is going through this MIDI track, and it has a gain knob, and this is the most important knob here. The gain knob allows you to control the gain or gain staging of where this is going. Now, this is being bussed into the synth bus right here. Now, this synth bus has its own compressor on it, which is set to -18. In the documentation, it goes over why this is what it is. I'm not gonna go over that in this video, but what you need to know is that when you're using this, if you aim for this compressor, which is also set to -18, to just barely kiss that fader right there, and then you see how it's just the yellow starting to show? That's where you want to be. Now, if you're bussed properly, you're going to go into one of 4 buses right here, and that's going to go to a pre-master fader, which has another separate curve here, and another compressor, which is adding additional gain, finally going to the master fader right here, which has a limiter on it, which is adding 9 dB of gain at the end, okay? So all of this equals out to be something where you can control your gain all the way through the mix and all the way through the production to get a more balanced result at the end. Like I said, we've been using this for years and it works, okay? This is called Utility. It is the production template for Ableton Live, available at materialsoundsets.bandcamp.com. Okay, now, finally, I just want to go over the 6 insert effects because these are really cool. Some of my favorites are in here. This is the Ritalin Delay, which I showed you on some of these sequences. We did cruising altitudes. That's the Berlin Delay, okay? Love that. You have Beyond the Horizon, which is nice, like extra reverb. I'll go back to a pad, all right? It's sort of a scatter. I think it's made with the Echo plugin, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, it is. And then you have the plank loop, which I'm not gonna go over. It's too long of a delay. And then you have, it's really good for slow stuff, by the way. The Earth Room, which is a nice room reverb. Sort of tighten things up if you have a bunch of drums. that you want to all get in there. E is the airlock, which I used for several years. The airlock, I love the airlock. Has a nice overall sound. And then finally, last but not least, my favorite, the one and only Nostalgia for Infinity. Now listen to this. I'm not playing. That tail, that's Nostalgia for Infinity. Anyway. Available now, materialsoundsets.bandcamp.com. You have Ancient Technology. You also have Aeronautics from Echo Season, which I did not go over today, but is a brilliant sound set for Omnisphere 2. And you have Utility from Remote Vision. Thank you so much for watching this video, and thank you for your continued support of what we do here at Synphaera, Exosphere, and Material Soundsets. And we look forward to seeing you guys in future videos. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Peace.